Hello there, listeners of Cinema to the Letter. This is Thomas here with a brief intro before our Iron Giant commentary, which we released on the Patreon previously back in August of 2024. This was to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the movie, and it's going to be our February bonus podcast episode here on the feed. While we're still on a transitional phase, I should note that 2 of the 6 episodes for our upcoming season have been recorded already. But in the meantime, we'll have this Patreon bonus unlock here. And speaking of the Patreon, just want to shout out that over there, you should be able to listen to our Send Help audio review that I recorded with Ryan Quarterman, as well as upcoming, we'll be doing a Project Hail Mary audio review for March. And of course, we'll still be doing, Marco Polo Adult Swim podcast and other stuff like that. But also on March 2nd, that first Monday of the month, you all will be able to vote in a poll if you're a cineast, of course, if you're a cineast for just $1 a month over there on the Patreon for patreon.com/cinema number 2 letter. You'll be able to vote on which audio review we do for April, coming there on the 2nd. And your options: Mother Mary, which is the new film starring Anne Hathaway from director David Lowery. Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which is the new reboot version of The Mummy and the kind of modern Universal Monsters universe, as it were. The Christophers, which is a new film from Steven Soderbergh, featuring Sir Ian McKellen in the lead role. And Faces of Death, which is a very odd sort of reboot of the Faces of Death franchise, is also scheduled to come out in April. So one of those 4 will win. If you just go ahead and, vote on the Patreon poll, we'll definitely cover one of those in April for when they come out. But enough about that. Here is our audio commentary for the Iron Giant, which, keep in mind, you can look in the description and you'll see a time code for when you can sync up, because it's not your commentary. You want to watch along with the movie and so on. So here is that audio commentary. Hello there, cineasts, or super cineasts, as we'll refer to you, through tiers. Welcome to the bonus episode for August 2024 here on the Patreon for Cinema to the Letter, where Bryan and I are going to be doing an audio commentary once again. And Bryan, what movie are we doing an audio commentary about, in case people can't read the title of the audio file that they're playing currently?
We are doing the Iron Giant, which... Yeah, I think one of the reasons we picked this, of course, is it's released in 1999, which is a very big year for movies. I think a lot of people...
August 6th, 1999, so we're in the
Right.
20th anniversary month in general.
Right, and specifically, the anniversary of this movie. Now, I know that you like this movie a little bit.
Well,
is that true?
It's that's one of my down low opinions. I don't talk about this movie that much. Yeah, I have a whole history where I saw this movie during its theatrical run.
Right.
I'm gonna guess it's in the first week or so, because this movie didn't last very long in theaters.
Right.
We're celebrating the anniversary of its initial fatal wounds, basically. But it's a movie that I saw theatrically because I was a child when this movie came out. Youngins, yes, I've seen the 20th century. It was a bit better, from what I remember. I was watching this with my uncle. We went to a theater in St. Pete, because he was living around there at that time, and we were some of the few people there, but I remember that experience viscerally, seeing this movie in a theater. Because, keep in mind, 1999, obviously, everyone talks about how celebrated that is a movie year. My movie year for that, because I'm a child, is Toy Story 2, Tarzan, this movie, Phantom Menace, obviously.
Right.
A good, handful of Stuart Little, the
Of course.
M. Night Shyamalan written classic Stuart Little, which I recently rewatched. Cute movie. The Iron Giant was one of those movies, and I remember loving it so dearly. But at the same time, at that particular point, not a movie a lot of other kids saw. I remember talking about this movie as a child to other children who were like, I have no idea what this movie is, because this movie wasn't very well promoted. There wasn't a McDonald's tie-in. Tarzan swung in and just took that particular title. And this movie had an infamous sort of production history where, it's directed by Brad Bird, who we've talked about previously, directed Tomorrowland, which we talked about on the main feed during our Disney
You
season,
did,
which gets a
yeah.
shout out, after, he had a lot of time initially as a Disney animator, and then became a big animator consultant on The Simpsons, left The Simpsons to direct this movie with Warner Brothers Animation, which is a fascinating history as well. But yeah, so this whole movie had like initially this inception with like it was going to be based on this Ted Hughes book, The Iron Man, which was a children's book that at one point Pete Townsend was trying to adapt into a musical animated film with Warner Brothers, which
Okay.
would have been interesting, I'm sure. But it went into production hell, and Brad Bird was, initially going to make a movie called Ray Gun,
Hmm.
with Warner, which, is going to be coming out from a certain source soon. But then Warner was like, no, we're not going to do that movie, but any of these things we have in production, do you want to, like, point out to it? And he's like, you know what? I want to do The Iron Giant. And there's some, like, very personal reasons. We'll probably get into it as the movie goes along.
Sure,
Because I
yeah.
watched some of the bonus features. Like, I would really recommend either the audio commentary that has Brad Bird and several of the animation staff on there. The documentary, it's called The Giant's Dream, The Making of the Iron Giant, which was on my Blu-ray, notably directed by Anthony Giacchino, brother of Michael.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yes, and has a lot of interviews from certain people involved in this production, and also random other people like Drew McWeeny or Guillermo del Toro, who called to console Brad Bird the weekend this movie came out, and bombed
Oh,
horribly. Just you've made a great classic animated movie, and it means a lot coming from the guy who several years after that would make Pinocchio.
right. Another great animated movie in my opinion.
Yes. But Bryan, what's your history with this movie? Because you were alive when this came out, but not cognizant of anything.
No. Yeah, I was 1 year old when this movie I guess I had just turned one when this movie came out.
The world was your oyster.
It was, and the world was only about to get better. Um I did not see this movie until I was, I think, an adult, like, or 18, around 18 maybe. Um, but of course I have a history with Brad Bird. I saw The Incredibles many, many times when I was young. Of course, Ratatouille, I just rewatched the other night and is one of the great American films of our time, I think. It was never on my radar, really, and I think when I was growing up, it was not I was a movie I was aware of, like I was aware of the Iron Giant as a character and what he looked like and the iconography and stuff like that, but I just never saw the movie really. Kind of getting into Brad Bird's other movies, right? Like seeing, oh, he directed Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Like I just
Yes.
didn't know that when I watched it. I was like, oh, The Iron Giant. I've never seen that. Might as well watch it. And I had heard kind of like its reputation, of course, as this very big tearjerker and as like a massively like impeccably made animated film. And yeah, when I saw it, I thought the exact same thing. I cried, even though like I didn't see it as I saw it as an adult, and it still just absolutely broke me. And I've seen it a few more times since then, and it does kind of grow the more I see it. It is not my favorite Brad Bird movie, but I think there's really stiff competition for his best film. But yeah, it's a movie I appreciate the more that I watch it. I watched it earlier today, and I was almost brought to tears. I had to like really hold it in because I'm like, I have to watch this later today as well. So let's not let it all out now. But yeah, I really love this movie, and I think it's just really incredible and is really interesting as well because of course Brad Bird, joins Pixar and makes three Pixar movies. Now he's making a fourth one for Incredibles 3, which a lot of thoughts on that, but that's another time. And this is only 2D animated movie, and it's it's a very weird one, yeah, especially considering like Warner Brothers Animation, which I don't think exists anymore, right? They
It
got rid
didn't
of
really
that.
exist much to begin with. That's part of the backstory of this movie. While it was being made, Warner Brothers had started wanting to get into like let's do the theatrical movie trend. Because keep in mind, like in '99, we are still in the wake of like the Disney Renaissance very quickly. So shortly
Right.
after, you get your Little Mermaids, Beauty and the Beast, when that trend really started to hit home, immediately every other studio was like, "Fuck cartoons! We need cartoons, animation. Get fucking nerds and their pencils to draw stuff for us so the kids can like come and see our movies. And Warner Brothers was kind of part of that trend, but in weird spits and spurts. Because you had stuff like a movie I rewatched recently, Quest for Camelot, which I also saw in theaters, and is a fucking bad children's movie. Just such a terrible animated movie on like every conceivable level. And that movie came out right before The Iron Giant and bombed horribly. So like basically while The Iron Giant was in post production, Warner's like, yeah, we're probably gonna shutter this up. I mean, also not helped by like that studio even was already started as like a fold-in thing for Turner Animation, which was in the
Oh,
middle of
right.
all this, like Turner gets bought by Warner Brothers, so all their assets come over. They had one. It was Cats Don't Dance, a movie I talked to you about before from '97, which I also saw in theaters as a child and also bombed. I have such a memory of seeing. I just saw so many fucking animated movies in the theater, Brian. It was
Sure.
like
I mean,
if
yeah.
it was there, I had to see it. And Cats Don't Dance is a good one though. The musical Gene Kelly inspired movie about cats that dance. They do dance. That's the twist of the title.
Well, I mean, it's also weird because like Warner Brothers has that, which I guess is Warner Brothers Animation, but then later on they have Warner Brothers Pictures Animation or Warner Animation Group. They did like Lego Batman and Storks, a movie I think we talked about recently as like, hey, that's a good movie. Um,
Yes.
and then like yeah, Smallfoot and stuff like that.
Also, Family Entertainment, which does a lot of like the Batman stuff.
Right, like yeah, weird that they have this kind of history that in animation, of course, and like they keep trying, and then it seems like now they are kind of I don't know what they're doing now with animation Warner Brothers.
I mean, let's address sort of an elephant in the room. We addressed this on Marco Polo on this Patreon feed, either before or after this. But uh, with the current way animation is, if you've seen the Animation Guild stuff right now, it feels like they're not going to do much because like Cartoon Network has had like all these cuts recently
Yeah. Hmm.
and everything, which is a bummer considering, especially just to keep it with the Iron Giant. A big reason I think this movie has a big acclaim even amongst like people my age is because it also aired on Cartoon Network quite a bit. Particularly, there would be not every single Thanksgiving or Fourth of July, but on multiple different ones, they would show the Iron Giant like a Christmas story,
It's
like for 24-hour cycle. And you know what? Good, because you can watch it a lot of times during that, and
sure,
also
yeah.
it fits perfectly. And I would be willing to like cry every hour and 26 minutes on the dot for a
It's
day.
it is a weird movie to watch on the 4th of July, for instance, because
Yes.
of like the themes of this movie, but yeah, very interesting.
But yeah, so you know what? We're here to do an
Yeah.
audio commentary. In case you started the movie already, stop. Go back. Because we are gonna go ahead and do a countdown as we usually do. So we'll do three, two, one. I'll say like an Iron Giant related phrase, and then after I'm done with that phrase, you all push play. That's what we're gonna be doing here. And we should note, we'll be doing the 86-minute theatrical cut, not the 89-minute signature edition, which is a separate version that came out several years later. It's only 3 minutes longer, but it's because there are two scenes that even if you're listening on a commentary, if you want to listen along with us, it would change things. So we're gonna go with the original theatrical version. Brian and I will be pushing play soon. Brian, are you ready?
I am. I am very excited to watch this movie again. I love it. Let's do this.
So on three, two, one, Superman. This Warner Brothers logo, which Brad Bird animated himself, or the team did, because this isn't has never been on another movie, and it's a bummer because it looks great.
It's a great Warner Brothers logo. Yeah.
Summer 1999. I want to tell you, Brian, four other movies come out the same weekend.
Okay.
The Thomas Crown Affair from John McTiernan, good
Okay.
movie. Dick, the Kirsten Dunst, Michelle Williams, Nixon
Right.
movie, good movie. Mystery Men, and of course, The Sixth Sense, Brian.
Of course. Yeah.
No wonder this movie failed horribly. The Sixth Sense came out the same weekend.
Right. Yeah. I
Sputnik
l-
there.
I love this introduction here of just anytime, it's like the John Carpenter's The Thing where it starts on like the alien like landing on Earth as we see like it float through space, I think is such a great introduction to any movie.
And also done with a lot of CG effects. We should shout out this is one of those late
Yeah.
90s movies that has 2D animation and CG animation blended together. We have our first character here, who is Earl Studs, voiced by the late great M. Emmett Walsh, who we recently lost like a couple of days
Yeah.
ago. R.I.P. Great voiceover performance in this too.
Absolutely. That is interesting actually, this era of 2D animation uh using CG elements. I
Yes.
really miss that era. I think that it was such an elegant use of CGI before it became like just the way we made these movies. And yeah, I miss it in stuff like Treasure Planet or like, a lot of some of those Disney Renaissance movies have it as well. But yeah, it's something I miss.
I mean, truly, yeah, especially because you have the CG being constricted to a 2D art style to fit. Like especially
Right.
these waves here, all mostly CG. There's like some like close up stuff is uh 2D animated, but like the effects here, the rain, all this kind of stuff. And this movie was also like storyboard in an interesting way, where this is the first movie to do like basically computerized animatics based on storyboards, which was a part of that Giant's Dream documentary, which is a very negative and emotional documentary. Also, Brad Bird lets people say shit about him, like
God.
the one main
Well,
producer, and who was just like at one point frankly says like I need to say how I answer the question of like how was it like to work with Brad Bird because I hated working with Brad.
I mean, Brad Bird, a very notoriously normal and mild-mannered man.
I mean, at the very least, from what I've heard, not quite abusive, just
No, no, no.
a lot, just a lot.
Intense
Yeah,
and demanding from what I've heard. I mean, there's a reason Tom Cruise went to him when saying, "Hey, I want to, go to the top of the Burj Khalifa."
of course you could draw him there. We should shout out. We have our main hero here, Hogarth Hughes, voiced by
Yeah.
Eli Martell, a child actor who was also Stifler's brother in American Pie this same summer.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, and Jennifer Aniston, of course, is his mother. Um, which I think makes this the best movie to feature a main Friends cast member. I think that's inarguable.
Uh, I love this opening scene. I think it is like this movie is incredibly efficient. It's 86 minutes and it this scene sets up our protagonist. It sets up the relationship he has with his mother, his kind of what kind of kid he is, right? He is this kind of like not hoodlum. He's kind of Bart Simpson adjacent, except he's not like malevolent necessarily, but he is
Like he's
kind
much
of
more like a
like,
weirder outsider kid. Like he doesn't have a lot of
yeah,
friends. He's just kind of like, oh, who's the Hogarth Hughes kid? I don't know. And also
right,
Dean, voiced by Harry Connick Jr. Um, a wonderful introduction to of his character here, and
right.
it's all part of like the kind of economic storytelling you're referring to with most of this movie, including just like this bit here that gives you a great character moment for him, where Emmett Walsh is telling a story, and he's about to defend Emmett Walsh in a moment from these guys. But God, I love also the facial animation. This movie's full of such great facial animation for characters. Like even
Yeah.
this guy in the green, like he's so expressive. Even if he's just kind of like moving his mouth from side to side, there's not a lot. But even that stillness. And Dean, look, him being all heroic, pulling himself out, and then awkward silence.
And also how distinctive all these guys look. Like they all look so
Yeah,
unique individually. And yeah, that is also something that, not to make this a thing about like CG animation, but like you kind of lose that a little bit as we move to CG animation, even when it's done by someone like Brad Bird, who tends to kind of stylize things a lot more.
this facial animation.
Yes.
So good. What really works too is that these characters are very like well realized and grounded enough so they can do highly expressive bits like this and
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like too much. It feels, I don't know, maybe cartoony.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, apologies in advance for this. Making a profound announcement of like, this ain't your Disney movie. Our chipmunks don't talk. They come out of zippers. Though I mentioned the Thanksgiving thing earlier, this is a great fall movie, especially
Oh
as the movie
yeah.
goes along, it transitions into winter. So it's a
Hmm.
very good like Thanksgiving movie. Cute character bits of animation, just opening the little bread box
Oh,
and
I
messing with the
love
wire.
I love when in animated movies when there are like name brand food items. I don't
Yes.
know why, but like I love that. Just the Twinkies and the Wonder Bread there.
This amazing parody of 50s B movies here.
Right.
This might be my introduction to that concept of parodying these kind of movies. Especially like the stiff delivery, like what he's saying, like, how about a nightcap? And stuff like that. And the
Right.
really like awkward. And we're about to
Well, and
get,
also
yep,
that
Crawling Brain, much
yeah.
like Fiend Without a Face, which we talked about on our like Monster Match Madness in March. Whatever that was.
I love that this kind of like bit of character development of he is this, he loves like horror movies and like old sci-fi kind of, genre stuff. I just love this, I don't know, just this depiction of like a latchkey kid who just like loves horror movies and especially his mom like telling him not to stay up and then we see the clock like, go to like
Yes.
10 p.m. or whatever. Also worth noting, by the way, that I think I found out as I was watching this earlier that this is set in 1957, which would have been the year that Brad Bird was born, which I find kind of interesting as clearly this movie is about, you know, kind of the kinds of things he grew up loving, right? Like those kinds of horror movies and those kinds of sci-fi movies and stuff.
I mean, very true, yeah. There's a lot of, kind of 50s nostalgia baked into Brad Bird, in case you couldn't tell from
Sure.
our
I mean,
intro. I also love the design of Hogarth in this coat that we're going to see here. Just like, it looks
oh yeah.
just big enough, and it looks like he's, like he came up with the idea to be prepared, but he just doesn't look that prepared. He's just wearing like a big coat and has a BB gun.
I mean, we talked a lot about this on like
There's a
the
shot coming up
Sleeping
here of the
Beauty
whole forest
episode.
thing. It's about to come up in a second. That's amazing. But go ahead. Sorry, the Sleeping Beauty.
Well, just the way that nature looks in animation, in 2D animation specifically, I think that like it looks just so gorgeous and it's kind of stylized, but there is still this like kind of natural beauty to it. And this movie just gets that so well with all of the nature in this movie specifically.
Particularly the backgrounds. Like, look at the way this forest is destroyed. This shot. This shot is
Yeah.
so fucking great.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
exactly what we're kind of talking about. And that's like one of those multi-plane view kind of things. I
Hmm.
mean, not as like it was in the 30s, but with like a digital touch. That still looks like great and gives you
Yeah.
that sense of. This movie has such a great sense of scale.
Hmm.
With obviously given the nature of one of our characters, but even like from here before he's even like seen in full light.
And much like Sleeping Beauty, I think has a lot of great like animated trees that you can just kind of stare at because they just look
Yes.
so incredible.
Oh, look, there he is. Like a silent killer. Credit to Joe Johnston did the design of the Iron Giant.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yes. And it kind of has similar vibes to, his work as well, I would say. He's another guy that kind of feels ingrained in that, even though he was probably what? He's got like a solid 15 years on Brad Bird.
Right, yeah.
But also, he was, this is not too long after he was a designer for like the original Star Wars trilogy and shit. Designed Boba Fett.
Joe Johnston did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
I do love that as an introduction for the Iron Giant that he gets like shocked like that. I think it's a great way of kind of firmly rooting this in its kind of Frankensteinian things. Another reason I probably like this movie so much is Frankenstein vibes all over the place.
Right, absolutely.
We should probably address this here. The giant himself is voiced by Vin Diesel.
Hmm.
Uh, this was a very early credit for him, and Vin Diesel's fallen into some hot water in the last year or so. But I will say, this is an amazing vocal performance, and I think it's
Yeah.
so interesting, especially how it is slightly processed, but not by a lot. If you hear any of the like original recordings, and I think it's a real testament to like, along with the animation, that performance I think really helps to create this whole character in a beautiful way.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely times, especially the more that you kind of listen to him and watch this movie over and over, where you can tell it's him doing it, like specifically like that is Vin Diesel's very specific like tone of voice, but
Yes.
they kind of modulate it in to make it very distinctive to this character, which I love. And a thing that I think really strikes me about like what I was talking about earlier, like the efficientness of this movie is the efficiency of this movie, sorry, is that we're like less than about 15 minutes into this and we're already getting kind of the meeting between these characters. And I don't know, this movie just doesn't do any of the like kind of unnecessary scenes that we need to do to get to the point of meeting the characters, having them meet, and just kind of getting to the action. It kind of gets to everything very, very quickly, which I love, and I think is so like part of what makes this brilliant. It makes it so like rewatchable, you know?
Maybe part of the reason why I think it's a slightly better movie than the incredibly great E.T., which I think covers a lot of similar ground.
Very, yeah, very similar movies.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I think this kind of avoids some of those not pitfalls that ET falls into. I think ET's, a masterpiece, but
Look, pretty great move, I'm not denying that. But
right. But
this one just
it
it's a slightly more efficient, if nothing else.
yeah. Hmm.
Which sometimes, luxuriating in what E.T. does really works, but I also just love how we're getting a lot of that just through even this conversation.
Hmm.
Just like the relationship between this boy and his mother, and how she's just like, she's not in the mood. Like, that's so much sadder than if she was just like yelling at him. Like, you can tell he's disappointed her, which of course hurts all the more. To quote The Simpsons, that's mom for mad.
I love, yeah, this shot of him looking back and kind of getting the confirmation that what he saw was real, that he's not like imagining it or anything.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Watching the duck and
He's
cover.
stuck in covers, yeah. I
Atomic
remember.
Holocaust. Shout out, this whole like duck and cover short that's in the background was done by Teddy Newton, who's a guy that would later work on a lot of Pixar movies with Brad Bird. He's done like even some of the voices, like the phone in Toy Story 3. That's him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he's also doing the voice that you hear in the narration in the back of the duck and cover. Oh, by the way, that teacher was Cloris Leachman, who has one line in this movie.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Weird.
I assume she had a larger role that got cut severely. I do like this peek, though, we get into like the nationalism of everyone
Hmm.
else at the school, and
Yeah.
obviously the Red Scare thing. Okay, I should say this is a fun bit, of course, with the chomp, but this would have been the first scene from the signature edition that shows up, which is a scene just at the diner where Dean and Hogarth's mom talk to each other, and he tries to get a bit closer, and then she's like, well, I can refuse service to anybody I want, and points at the sign, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. And then they kind of apologize to each other about what happened before with the squirrel. It's interesting. It adds a bit more. I think of the two scenes, I prefer it. I don't know, maybe that speaks to my age. I prefer the scene of two adults talking. But the other one we'll get to. But I think it's a solid scene in the signature edition. Now, it's our villain, maybe the funniest character in this very funny movie, Kent
Yeah.
Mansley, voiced by Christopher McDonald, who most people would know out there as a character actor for stuff like Happy Gilmore, Shooter McGavin, who's amazing in this movie. A great performance that's as intimidating as it is buffoonish and funny.
Yes. And I love his animation where he is kind of a bit imposing, right? He's presented as kind of like tall and kind of, yeah, imposing, but like you said, yeah, he's a buffoon. He's like a fool.
Brad Bird described as basically like he looks kind of like what would be a more traditional leading man of a movie that would come out in like 1957,
Sure,
as
yeah.
opposed to like Dean or anything like that. Yeah, he's got like the big chin. He looks like Conan O'Brien, honestly, which is a recurring thing I've seen. I don't think it's an accurate,
Does.
especially when we see more of his hair. Like we have his hat on here, but once
Oh,
his hair gets
sure, yeah.
really coiffed around, it looks like Conan. Oh yeah, I don't have the sound on, but we're about to get McDonald's best delivery.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And again, the efficiency of this movie of we get that scene where he, is presenting himself as this like very arrogant and, uh, better that he, thinking he's better than these like small town people, and then immediately right after he's kind of, yeah, his car
He's
is.
made into a fool. Yeah. What are we looking at here, Mr. Manley? Yeah, I like this. He doesn't correct him about saying his name wrong. Hug, hug.
Yeah, this is very, very autumnal. This
Yes.
this whole kind of I guess set, whatever you want to call it,
His background.
background. Yeah.
It's so weird watching this again because I watched this last night, and then earlier today I watched Quest for Camelot. That is a movie where like every other thing is wrong on every shot, and it's a different thing every time. Like sometimes the backgrounds look great, but the main character animation looks shitty, or there's a cool character design, but they put in a really bad song. That song is where The Prayer comes from, the Celine Dion song. I don't know if you know what that is at all.
I am marginally familiar with Celine Dion.
I grew up with a mother in the 90s, so I heard a lot of Celine Dion
Sure.
songs. But because it's a very famous song that she did with like Andrea Bocelli, the opera singer. And it comes from Quest for Camelot, where a lady's being chased by a guy with maces for hands. Really where that plays in that movie. And it's Celine Dion's vocals doing it. Anyway, so the Iron Giant's back.
Weird. I love that screen flash when he gets like hit by the branch, just like it flashes white for a second.
A little bit of blood as well. Kind of grounding this a bit more. Even though this background looks like Bugs and Daffy could come out and do Rapid Season, Duck Season, it doesn't. It still works for Hogarth getting smacked in the face and getting blood.
Two guys hanging out.
What's better than this? Two guys being dudes.
I also just love we'll see it multiple times in the movie, but when the Iron Giant does something that like shakes the entire screen, I love that like effect that they do for that.
Real shout out to just the character animation out of the Iron Giant
Oh yeah.
is so good. And once again, for like this is the CG character in the movie. He's so expressive though, and he has like we were mentioning earlier, design fits perfectly with Hogarth to like interact off of, but it's still mainly because like he's so expressive as a character with the eyes and like even his lower jaw that kind of like whenever it goes unhinged a bit more. There's a lot of personality, especially when we get like yeah, like that bit right there with his jaw. This rock bit kind of reminds me of part of the bad promotion for this movie was a TV spot that was just like bad rip off ACDC music and just like get ready for the next thing in heavy metal, the Iron Giant. That's how they promoted this movie. Shockingly, it didn't do very well.
I mean, I definitely could see them trying to promote this as like promote the Iron Giant as like, come see this. It's so cool, kids. Like, and it is this incredibly like sweet and gentle movie that also is about like nationalism and the military industrial complex and
And
you
gun
know,
violence very
right.
directly. Which that was also an interesting thing I didn't realize until I watched that documentary. A big reason Brad Bird was kind of you know was curious about doing this movie was because his own sister was killed in an act of gun violence.
Yeah, which I mean,
Yeah,
it,
sorry to bring down the room,
it
everybody.
no.
But
I mean, I think it really adds to the real emotional core of this movie and why this movie, I think, resonates like so much on an emotional level still.
yeah,
And, we'll get to like that, the whole element of that movie, of this movie of like, you are what you choose to be, like you don't have to be a gun, but it really like resonates so much, and especially knowing that kind of tragic history, yeah, it shows in the movie just how much it kind of meant to him to include those themes. I also just love that bit of him like trying like almost falling asleep as Hogarth was like talking about Ripley's Believe It or Not or whatever.
right. What a cute, funny bit that's not going to come back and make me cry later. Brad Bird, one of the masters of setup and payoff, has displayed wonderfully in this movie.
Bad Robot. What is this, a J.J. Abrams movie?
You fucking JJ wishes he made this fucking movie. You know that.
I mean, he himself made his own kind of nostalgia driven uh
Spielberg esque
right,
uh,
yeah.
vehicle, yeah. Oh, the train thing. This is a great example of how this movie will escalate tension very quickly.
Yeah, and again, just the way that this movie like moves so quickly, right? Like that scene was them getting to know each other a bit better. Now we have this like train sequence, which is funny and tense and kind of adorable because of just the way that he acts with it in a moment here.
He goes full dog. Like, the Iron Giant very much resembles a dog on a lot of levels. There was kind of like a big thing with the animators, was it went that kind of appeal to him, and he has that kind of, he means so well, but he doesn't know. He's silly. It's gonna cause a major accident with a automotive train.
This is the part I love so much of him being very precise about where to put it back. It has to be exact. It has to be like "No, just a little bit more. Oh, just
Speaking of Super 8, train crash about to happen.
Oh, that's true. Man, I have not seen Super 8, I think since it came out. I'd be very curious to revisit that movie.
I did a couple years ago, and it sure is a movie.
Yeah, I remember it being okay. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't
that's
know.
about right. I love that the way his jaw's hanging off. I love all the little pieces have their own kind of independence to them, especially the hand, as we'll see in a little bit. Oh, there's Kenton as Conan O'Brien here.
It is very Conan O'Brien now that I think about it. Oh, and this is maybe one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie of just the little the little details on like everything screwing into each other and like the pieces coming together and everything and just yeah, it looks so great and it's so like detail oriented in a very strange way and just the CGI has just aged so well on the Iron Giant and I love this little
His face,
smile.
the little eyelids are ingenious to have like those little like metal panels that act as eyelids for him. Uh
Yeah.
oh. Now here's Ollie Johnston and Frank Thomas, two of the nine old men from Disney who helped kind
Oh,
of train
wow.
Brad Bird. They're also in The Incredibles. They're the two guys who are just like, yeah, you know what that is? That's old school. Yeah, that's
Oh
old school.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love their design. I mean, every character in this movie has like such like wonderful designs, even like the tiny ones who are there for just like a scene.
Yeah, there's our hand. And this whole thing's like, oh my god. Yes. Wonderful character animation on Hogarth here. Just look at the way that like his hands are clasping and his lips are awkwardly tumbling, and when he juts out like
The devil.
a very naturalistic child actor performance as well, especially a vocal performance from Eli Martell.
Yeah. Yeah, I love her reaction of just like that was weird. You know, just like the reaction of someone who's just like, yeah, my kid's kind of weird, but like not in a, you know, obviously she loves him and it is just he's a weird kid. He's just a very like unique kid who's into weird stuff and acts, you know,
Before we get too far away from
strange.
it, I love that that fucking hand was watching a television. He's just watching TV, and look, even more like very dog-like as well. I love that his animation too, where it's like, oh, I didn't mean to go that far. I just wanted to
Right.
like distract her. Oh yeah, work for the government. The first of many nicknames. Like, hey, Scout Slugger. That's about to happen in a few minutes too. That montage. Oh, like being a perv, Kent Mansley. Oh yeah, give him the hat like such an asshole. Oh, here's John Mahoney,
Yeah.
uh, Dad of Frasier, as our general here.
Just like what you imagine when you think like 1950s military general. And that's what that character design is basically. Like
Very
just
George C. Scott vibes off that guy.
very yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, could have gotten George. He was still alive at this time
They could have,
for a
yeah.
minute. I love also the decoration, like the look of his study says so much with like the head, the kind of
Right.
horse statue over there.
I think he's watching like a western of some kind.
Right. Yep, there it is.
It has like John Wayne or something.
For however bad the resolution is. Oh no, wait, this phone thing is great. However bad the resolution is on those TVs, I love the look of old 50s TVs.
Oh yeah.
Back in the quaff.
Hug hug.
I love his smile here. It's so creepy.
Yeah, and this is great. Him in like the doorway is a great like just making him seem like this imposing like figure. Just like yeah, the shadow on his like hat and everything is
And plus, that look just says, like, I fucking know I got you. I
right.
got you, kid. Oh, yeah. The first of a few really good bathroom jokes in this movie. Kids' movies of this time
Yeah.
did that a lot. Still, obviously, do to some extent, I'm sure. I don't watch everything. But this particular time, a lot of, go in the bathroom, poop jokes, whatnot. This movie has a solid amount of them that were even a plot relevant one. Great character animation on Miss Hughes there. I like also how she. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, the shot of like him
His
getting his face
face.
squished in. Great, like, character poses there. Um, I love how she has kind of like a young mom vibe. You can tell she specifically kind of feels like
Yeah.
she's like late 20s, early 30s kind of thing. Oh, yeah. Got them bedtime stories. We're going to get some synergy for Warner
I
Brothers
was
in a
gonna
second.
say, yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? Oh, there's the Spirit, which, by the way, Bradford was trying to make into a movie for a while, an animated movie. And there's great test animation that he did of like an animatic of it. That looks so good. Of course, Superman, Action Comics. This is the best Superman movie, right?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I haven't seen
All of
all of
Richard Donner,
them,
but
but right. And it is interesting. I mean, this is, we've talked a lot about superhero movies on like, recently on this podcast, but this feels kind of novel to have like Superman be kind of like prominent like like this in this movie. It feels kind of normal now. Like if this movie was released now, of course, it would just feel like, oh yeah, like of course, right? But like 99 is it's kind of still, this feels like it's kind of more for like yeah, like nerdy like kids, right? Like it's weird to think
yeah.
about now.
Not as egregious as, say, In Quest for Camelot, when the two headed dragon voiced by Don Rickles and Eric Idle flies in the air to the Superman theme, which really happens in that movie.
Oof.
Yeah. But this is great. I love the look of these backgrounds, the Iron Giants
Hmm.
kind of like trotting along Maine. By the way, great use of Maine as even just like a location, that kind of
Oh
vibe.
yeah.
Yeah. A real Maine state of mind. Stephen King loves this movie, I'm sure.
Right. I love any movie that's set in like a seaside town. This is like
Yeah.
right on the coast. I love it. This is
Oh.
that's very sad actually. Him like walking away very sad because he can't go to
Good thing that'll be the
town.
saddest thing that happens in this movie, right, Brian?
Right.
I've suddenly forgotten everything that happens in the rest of this movie, but I'm sure it'll be fine from here. That'll be the one time. Oh, poor Giant. Things will look up, kid.
Oh, this is great. The Cosmo Burger.
Oh, yes.
Very atomic age name for that this like fast food restaurant.
Of course, yes.
And again, like the efficiency of this thing, right? Of that we have that sequence that, if he can't go into town and then who's there? Dean. We have to go follow him, and that kind of propels the story like to the next thing. It's
Well, not just propels the story, but also gives you a bit more insight into Dean because we're going to see his like artistic skills here, and the fact that he utilizes like where he works as well as like a means for his art, which is a great
right.
kind of thing that helps him make like such a distinct character. Oh yeah,
And we get him just munching.
I love the way he looks eating. You don't see robots eat too much. Oh yeah, he's desperately trying to turn it off. All this timing and stuff can only come from somebody who was incredibly instrumental in the first 8 seasons of The Simpsons.
Yes. There's a lot of very Simpsons-esque not even just the humor, but just kind of the sensibility of it and just kind of I don't know, there's something about it where it's very obvious that Brad Bird like worked on The Simpsons.
We're about to get a bit in this movie that Brad Bird animated in this scene. Uh, I'll point it out in a minute, but there's Dean's art. What do you think of Dean as an artist, Brian?
I think he's cool. I mean, Dean is the coolest. I mean, like
The coolest man ever, yes.
his
Oh, look, yeah, this
outfit, this like
the window.
this robe, like or robe kimono thing
It's a
that
robe.
like
It's a yin and yang
yeah,
robe, yeah.
just all his like the decorations and everything. I love that he's like, yeah, this is espresso. You can't handle this, kid.
Oh yeah, and this is so this is the bit right here. Hogarth is animated by Brad Bird throughout this whole sequence here when he's on espresso.
Very good. And again, this dialogue kind of gives us a bit of insight into like what Hogarth's like is kind of like, or life is kind of like a little bit, but doesn't give us too much necessarily.
Is there any more coffee? And also, it gives Dean a chance to kind of be a father figure, which will be very important
Hmm.
to, by the end of this movie. I love how that's built up to their relationship. We'll talk about it, but um, come out with the crowbar. I'm sure that'll be very effective, Dean. Oh
I love
no.
his angry eyes. So
Yes.
funny.
D with the T.
The handshaking is
Yes.
so great.
He's eating that like the car like a fucking like a rib. He's like holding it like
He does one later look that's like a kebab. It's so funny.
yeah.
That one, yeah.
Yeah.
And the stick.
Oh yeah. Pours the coffee out and then slowly. Wonderful once again character animation. That feels very Simpsons-y as well. I could see Homer do. Homer's
Yeah,
done that before, I'm sure.
the 37 minutes later, also like the title card coming up feels very Simpsons as well, like a Simpsons joke.
What is this, a Kevin Smith movie though? 37 in a row.
I do like this too, that he just like relents, like I'm tired, I'm going to
Frankenbot, change my
bed.
tune.
Just yeah, passes out. Oh, this always pains me a little bit. Him like getting home, tired, getting in bed, and then boom, he's
Yep.
has to get up already.
Just making the
It's
bed.
just oh, the worst feeling in the world.
The animation is so good that he's so tired. He's Oh, by the way, so here, of course, Kent's there, but there's a bit that I just noticed, like when I rewatched it recently. The newspaper, there's a headline that says, "Studios saved by osmosis greenlight," which is a reference to the last thing Warner Brothers Animation did before they completely shut it was the animation for Osmosis Jones.
Oh, of course, the masterpiece.
Yeah,
I've really been thinking of Osmosis Jones a lot recently for some godly reason.
it's a pretty fucking bad movie.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but it's been on my mind for some reason.
It's a real bummer that these animators, their last jobs were really that, and then the other kind of 2D animated movie was the Eight Crazy Nights, the Adam
Oh, sure,
Sandler
the
animated
Sandler
movie.
one, right?
Which, if you look at the animation, it's like incredibly similar stylistically and character-wise. A lot of those same animators went over to there to have that
Oh,
one Adam Sandler character covered in shit. Oh yeah, the sports slugger. Yes, sports slugger. Cowboy. I forgot cowboy.
well, a very memed moment, I think,
Oh
coming
yeah.
up here. Art.
Harry Connick Jr. is such a weird choice for this, but he's great in this movie. Because like he's mostly known for being a guy who does like Frank Sinatra standards, like in When Harry Met Sally. That's all him doing those
Right.
covers.
Yeah.
And Independence Day, where he played Will Smith's friend who dies. And like that's basically he's also in Bug, which was weird. He's like the third person in Bug, William Friedkin's Bug. Wow. The plot relevant shit joke
Yeah,
here.
this is a really great bit on Hogarth's part. The like laxative chocolate.
Oh, this animation on Kent while he's eating going
The,
off is so
that like
funny.
ice cream on top looks so good. Like just great animated like animation food that looks just so delicious.
Also, apparently, shout out Chris McDonald had ice cream in his mouth while he was recording those
Oh,
bits.
very
Method
nice.
actor. I gotta be method, guys. I gotta have some ice cream.
And this part where he kind of says the quiet part out loud about,
Yeah,
ultimately what this movie is about and, just American ideals at the time and that still feel relevant to this day, weirdly enough.
I know what you're talking. Everything's fine. We've regressed so much since this time. Love his hair getting frazzled as he moves along with this.
Yeah,
I
and
also
I
love how
mean,
broad his shoulders are too. He's so like
yeah.
intimidating on a physical way, which is so funny for when he does shit like this.
Oh,
Great camera movement too to see that like go from him going in the bathroom to like Hogarth already left in that
right.
shot. Yeah. Oh, how excited he was like, yeah, look.
I love these scenes of just kind of them becoming friends with the Iron Giant and just doing like just having fun and just having like just getting to do like this kind of like pretend play that's very
I mean,
childlike, but
as a child watching this movie, I remember even thinking like, of course I would do that
right,
if I
yeah.
had a big iron guy. That's the thing, is it feels very relatable and naturalistic to like what any kid would want to do if they had a big iron giant robot friend.
Right.
Yeah. The sigh. I love even the shading on his dent on his head. Just it
Oh
looks like
yeah.
just like it looks so distinctive. Oh yeah, population us. Yeah.
Also great outfits in this movie. Like the just the quote unquote like costume design, whatever you want to call it, is like so great. And like Hogarth's outfit, like his jacket, of course, like the turtleneck for Dean, and like this like whole like the jacket and suit look that Kent has with the pipe and everything.
Yeah, this
Outhouse.
montage, by the way, set to the coasters is Searchin', which is a great kind of 50s needle drop, like, gonna find her, being searching. I'm sure it's a great cover that you just heard. But bending down behind the bushes. This, too, this look of just defeat on his face is so funny. Oh, no.
Oh, Dean's sunglasses, like, what a this outfit is great.
I mean, look, I've heard this said by many people, and I can agree. One of the hottest animated men in history,
Oh yeah,
Dean.
absolutely.
Yes, easily. Especially for how funny he's going to be in a second with this fucking lake bit. Harry Connick Jr.'s best delivery in the whole movie, maybe.
I love his like head tilting as if he's like, what is this? What's this new thing? Water. I haven't dealt with this yet.
I call that the Ewok tilt, because that's the first time I
Oh
just ever like
yeah,
noticed that as a kid. Just
it's
like,
it's
oh,
good. Also, how
look,
pale Hogarth looks in this scene from just like freezing.
he almost looks purple.
Yeah. And then yeah, this just I love anytime the screen just fully shakes from his impact.
Giant tidal wave. This amazing thing that can only happen in a cartoon
The
here.
fish, the fish and like the raccoon, so funny.
The Dean is still
It's just-
sitting in the same position.
Ugh. I mean, it's the thing about like just animation in general, but like just the fact that
Oh,
this
this is it.
movie,
Oh, this is it from Dean. Yeah. Yeah. You were saying about animation.
um, well, just like the fact that this movie is quite grounded, right? Like, there's a lot of things that ground this movie to be kind of more quote unquote realistic, and yet it's something that you could only do in animation. Like, you could never do this in live action. It would look awful. It would be so expensive, all kinds of things, and then you get something like that of like Dean in the water in the chair, and it's like that's something you can only do in animation, which is it's just yeah, what makes it so special. Ah,
Oh,
a
the
Bambi
first
moment.
devastating moment of this movie, yeah. All right. Prepare to hear grown men cry by the end of this, folks. Both of us will probably be in tears, but this is an early part. Clearly evoking Bambi. in its own way, of course.
Oh, the way the like shafts of light are
Yeah,
just like they look incredible.
it's more great effects animation, which is not really discussed amongst animated films. Like we usually talk about individual animators of characters, but effects animation, like in this movie, for like the lights or the bits of thunder, rain, all that other stuff, it's very crucial
Hmm.
to animated films in a way that's not always appreciated. Uh, in the original version of this, the giant was going to accidentally kill the deer himself. Like he accidentally like was going to go to pet it and like crushed it, very Frankensteinish. But
Right.
the entire crew was like, "There's no way we could believably make him like get out of that funk if he does it." Basically, there's no way he could bounce back from this if he knew he killed a creature. As opposed to having this gun, of course, kill the creature. Oh,
Right.
literally triggering.
A really scary, like kind of bit of animation is his eyes turning red like that. It's
Yes,
just very disturbing. Um, well, yeah, and I think it is. I much prefer the fact that it is like he comes across this right, and he like it's him witnessing death for the first time, not him actually killing someone. I think that that's it. It doesn't. I don't think that would work at all. Uh, thematically or story wise. Yeah, it feels way more upsetting, but like in a much more kind of I don't know, weirdly manipulative way, I think.
well, but it feels much more emotionally honest because of this scene that we're currently watching. It's bad to
Yes.
kill, but it's not bad to die. I think it's a great example. Like Brad Bird talked about this. That, like he wanted to write and have this acted out. Like basically, Hogarth is explaining this to the giant, but also he's kind of coming to terms with what death means. Because he feels like about the age where you start to grapple with that as a concept. I think
Yeah.
you start to
Hmm.
get the idea of like, oh yeah, this isn't permanent. And yeah, and talking about the soul thing,
The soul
souls don't
it's
die.
yeah. Well, and the fact that he is this kind of like more he's a very like smart kid, right? But he's not like the
Yes,
annoying, precocious child that we get so often now in like movies and TV and stuff like that. He just feels like someone who is like just very smart and just very like mature for how old he is.
very emotionally intelligent filmmaking,
Yeah.
really. That whole sequence. All right, by the way, in between the cut where Hogarth is on his bike, there was another scene from the signature edition in which the Iron Giant had a nightmare, and you saw flashes of him like with a group of giants that like destroy
Oh.
a intergalactic city, and then he wakes up from it. I don't. I think it's well animated. Like that and the other scene I talked about were animated in 2014 for when that signature
Oh,
edition came
okay.
out. Like several,
Hmm.
like 15 years later, basically. And it's a well animated scene, but I don't think you need it. I think we
No.
get everything we need out of like the giant. It's not even a lot, but it still feels like a bit too much. I don't know if that's just because I'm so used to this version, but it's fine. It's not needed really in this.
Well, I like that we'd never really find out anything about him, really. He is just a mystery, but again, you are what you choose to be, right? And that kind of goes into the themes of the
Don't
movie.
make me fucking cry right now, Brian. I have to save my tears. Okay. I love the look also of like the farm background here as an abyss for these characters
Yes.
to interact off of, and the lighting of just the one light source. More great like sort of effects, animation involved here.
And again, just the way that he's like quote unquote shooting Mantley from like this like low angle that makes him seem like just more menacing.
Oh, this is so devastating. This look, the way he's bent over like that, so sad.
Yeah.
You see, there's some computer animation stuff as well with like the light source and the way that the table is kind of
Hmm.
shot. Yeah,
Oh, this is great. The sort of following him as he like falls into bed.
I love also Hogarth's design with like his teeth that aren't quite there. You know, that feels like he's gonna need
Yeah,
braces in
yeah.
like 5 years or so. Don't get cute. We're about to get here, I think, a great example of a comedically tense scene.
Hmm.
Because there's a lot of tension here in this bit where they're staring down at each other, but just also a lot of great character animation. Just like even the way Horgoth's sitting here. It's kind of funny. Oh, he's put on the helmet. That means business. We know that. Oh, there's his father, which that's the only real reference we get in the movie to his father is that little picture.
Very Spielbergian.
Oh, what? Are you saying that Spielberg has something about dads in his movies? Well, good thing Brad Bird doesn't have any interest in paternity as a theme
No.
with any of his films either. Um, oh yeah, they're
This is
falling asleep.
great. Both of them trying to stay up to like watch the other.
Yeah, especially the way that Ken is slumped over here is so
Yeah.
funny.
It's gonna hurt his back sleeping like that.
Good. I said it. Oh yeah, that's such a funny reveal. Here's a version of this where he would have just gone over to the bed and be like, "Well, oh great, they got what pillows?" But just that he comes by first.
Yeah.
I love whenever Ken shows off his teeth. He's got kind of like perfect teeth, which make him just all the more like shit eating with his grin.
Yeah. And again, I mean, we've talked about the efficiency of this movie, but like we're already at the part where the army shows up and
I always forget how quick this movie goes by.
yeah, and like there's just no lulls in this movie at all.
We
Every
are
scene
58 minutes into this movie. This movie's gonna end in less than half an hour, Bryan.
Yeah, I mean, like every scene matters and both like moves the story forward and or gives us more development on our characters or something like that. It's so impressive the way that Brad Bird. I mean, clearly with animation you have to kind of work like that because it takes so much time to just make the thing. But Brad Bird just is the absolute master of that in all of his movies. Of just efficiency and just making the movie fly by like this.
I love this, by the way. Dean talking here, just like the rest of my life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the video he's about to say here in a minute. Give me some time to cut the umbilical, man. It's such a funny line.
The look of panic on Manly's face is so great. Mansley. I'm sorry. I said Manly earlier.
Yeah, you're like that guy from earlier. Remember
Yeah,
in, I
yeah.
don't know, like 45 minutes ago when that happened? Here's a bit where the two of them kind of get close in the movie. This is the first time, really, in this version, where you really see, like,
Yeah, I
laughing together, and she likes his actual art as opposed to, like, the giant, which I think is very clever.
right. The scene you talked about earlier, I don't think I've seen that one. And not that I'm like it seems like a fine scene, but I like that these two never have like the romance is not part of this movie at all, but it is like there when
It's a
they're in the scene
background thing in a
together.
fun way. And later on, like, they make it very explicit.
Right.
It's very casual how they kind of integrate it. Oh, yeah, this is funny. Now I do.
I love Mansley there in the back with like his head in his hands and all that that implies.
I love the way that he scrapes the stuff out like, ugh, get off me. I hate this shit.
I love his ray gun. I love like classic like nuclear age like ray guns like that and
The
it,
retrofuturism kind of thing, yeah, with the guns,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Him twiddling
Oh,
his
no,
thumbs is so adorable.
no, Otamo.
What's the S stand for?
I've said I don't have a tattoo, but I've often thought if I were to get a tattoo, it would probably be like the head of the Iron Giant.
Oh yeah, that's a good one actually. Yeah, very
Yeah.
oh the like the green like beam like laser beams are just like
Oh,
also just
yeah,
so
wonderful.
great.
And this is some of the best Iron Giant character animation here too, where he's panicked, he's kind of afraid and disillusioned. Oh, no, look, oh, he's so
Oh yeah, this is
sad.
it's
Bryan,
so
look at him.
it's oh why the like why is so sad.
Oh, yeah, the ones reach out. Oh no, turning back. Oh. That's right, you're not a gun. Unlike, say, certain Warner Brothers properties that have used the Iron Giant since then have tried to make him into being.
Sure. Yeah.
That's why I can't co-sign on Ready Player One, Bryan. I
I
can't.
I did think about Ready
Fucking
Player
can't do
One.
that.
Look, I think that movie's good, and
We have to discuss that at some
we
point.
we do. Yeah,
I don't even
I
hate that movie. I have baggage with that movie, but I don't even hate it as much. I just, in any case, whatever. Fuck that movie. We're not
yeah.
talking about that. We're talking about the Iron
I
Giant.
well, I love the scene we just saw as well of like Dean being very defensive and being very protective of Hogarth, but he quickly realizes that like, oh, it's a defense mechanism, and we don't have to go through the whole scene where they sit together and they explain to each other like, no, you don't understand. This is why he did this. Yeah, I already know that. We just kind of we move on, and it's part of what makes this movie really great is we're like about to be propelled into like the last set piece of the movie here, which is also just set up really well with these two kids watching like the Iron Giant with the binoculars.
One of them voiced by one of Brad Bird's sons.
Oh.
The one who also voiced the guy who goes up to Violet at the end of The Incredibles. Just like, hey, you're Violet, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Tony Ryder, I think is his name.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Tony Ryder.
It is impeccable how Brad Bird has kind of transferred a lot of this over into his CG animated movies, though. Like Ratatouille and The Incredibles have a really great cartoony sensibility that still feels very much in Bird's style.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I watched Ratatouille a couple nights ago, like I said.
That car crash is so good. Yeah, but we're gonna get the fucking climax of this movie now, Brian.
Yeah, it's incredible. Just to like quickly wrap up what I was gonna say. Yeah, the way he, oh, I am not a gun. The way that he kind of blends the like the grounded kind of emotions and grounded kind of storytelling with the very silly and very cartoonish and ridiculous like Looney Tunes energy that he, kind of has in like that movie especially is like so impressive to me.
By the way, notice how it's snowing now, so we've kind of transitioned into the winter
Hmm.
element of it, especially as the movie's about to get very sad and bleak.
Yeah.
It's also snowing.
Also, just the scene of like after he saves the children and everyone is kind of like, oh, he's friendly, like, oh, he saved those kids is like so bittersweet. I mean, it's like so beautiful, and yet it's about to be like, you know, upended by the military and just this guy, this fucking guy.
You know what also works with this character animation, I'm really noticing, since this is the first time I think I've ever watched this movie silently, um, the characters are so expressive that, like, it tells you everything.
Yeah. hmm I mean, the fact that we've picked this and the last one we did, Mad Max Fury Road, both movies that work surprisingly well when like as silent films. Like it's difficult to do, and yet like especially in animation, I think it works so well in this movie. Just the character work and stuff like that is just so beautiful.
Yeah. Sorry we skipped over Eisenhower's cameo, everybody. I know you all wanted us to bring it up, but yeah.
God, every time I watch it, I'm like, oh my God, right? He can fly. They fly now?
They fly now.
I'm really referencing a lot of J.J. Abrams movies here during this episode.
Remember when he also almost made a Superman movie?
Did he really?
Yeah, he was at least
Ugh.
involved in writing. I think the one that McGee was gonna direct.
Oh God. No.
That literally didn't happen because McGee doesn't fly.
Oh, sure, right, yeah. Would this have been like
What
around
about
Superman Returns or Man of Steel?
this? Would have been before Superman Returns, I think. This would have been
Okay.
like right. It was one part of that like hellish production. That's going on, by the way. I think Tim Burton has just left that movie at Warner Brothers
Oh, right, with
at
the
the
Nick
time.
Cage
So that's where
one.
Superman is at this point. Because Christopher Reeves
Oh,
long passed the
right.
role and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, huh. This sequence is also just incredible with like the jets. Another thing that you just like could not do as well as this in live action.
Yes. And also without CG animation here, once again, it's a great like combining the two in a way like you couldn't do it with traditional animation nearly as well. Like it would cost way more money than
Right.
this movie did. Which, by the way, that's interesting. This movie cost 50 million, made 31.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Oh, this. He's grieving that boy. It's so sad.
But we do get a great sort of kind of transformation of his like a
Yep.
physical transformation from him, which is great. The dent goes
Yeah, the dent.
away.
Yeah.
And
That's the one
then
bit, right? That transform. Oh no!
all of this stuff is like incredible. As of course we talked about with our like sci-fi tech, our top 10 of that, just all kinds of cool like just atomic age like weaponry here. Very War of the Worlds there.
Also, kind of reminds me of the big robot that pops up in Mars Attacks.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you a doctor, Dean? I don't think so. Right, this is cool with the
Oh
little
yeah.
spark thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this guy with the phone.
I mean, you were talking about earlier about how this movie has a sense of scale, and I think this is really where like
Yes.
that is like really being shown off here. Like, oh, and of course this, you know, very frightening, depiction of like nuclear weapons, which, feels again very, very weird now.
Yeah, we got a few too many Kent Mansleys around the White House. You know what I'm saying? Oh,
Mm. Oh,
ooh.
I love these dials, these buttons, all of this stuff. Called the
Yeah,
Nautilus.
this.
Is that a reference to something? I wonder.
Hmm. Hmm. Uh-oh. It's coming up, Brian. The bit where I just instantly get triggered to cry is imminent. Just anytime I watch this fucking movie. Yeah, one of the times I saw this in theaters was at my college theater, where I went with a group of friends, and one of them was like, "Yeah, a lot of people our age like this movie. I've never seen it." And like the lights went up, and I looked over, like, "Hey, what'd you think of it?" And she's just got mascara down her face. It's just like she needed to leave to the bathroom immediately because of how affected she was by that movie. You don't have to be a gun. I have a magnet with that on it, with the Iron Giant's head. It's like, you are who you choose to be. Because I'm a really cool guy.
You have a Iron Giant like figurine, right?
I do from Super 7. Yes, it comes
Yeah.
with a little tiny Hogarth whose
Oh,
head
that's
popped off
cool.
earlier today.
Oh
And I
no.
was terrified and I had to super glue him. He's super small. Like the Iron Giant fits in my hand. So it's to scale. Oh yeah, that trick earlier where he's just like saying the kid died and everything.
We are
Kengan's so
getting
desperate. What a shithead.
we are getting one of my favorite line readings in a minute
Oh,
here uh from the general.
yeah, from John Mahoney, yes.
Yes, with the where's the
Where's the
giant man?
giant man?
He's like, that's not real, you idiot. Not a real thing. Duck and cover.
For our country. Oh, yeah. Screw our country. I want to live.
This also feels kind of Simpsons-y, like, I'm out of here. Boom.
Yes. The only way it could be more Simpsons if it was just like, now let me get something out of my car. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, here it is. God damn it. Just from here to like the actual explosion, just the way that this is all like presented, like looking down at these people from the Iron Giant's perspective, looking up from their perspective when we see the giant again, it's like that. That's a great shot. It gives you so much about like this situation and the characters. Shouldn't matter. Oh my god. I remember viscerally seeing this in the theater, Brian. Do you know how like scarred a 7-year-old is by seeing this?
God.
By the way, I should shout Michael Kamen does the score for this movie. An amazing
Oh, it's a
score, a very
wonderful score.
underrated composer, who did a lot of interesting things like some Die Hard, The Dead Zone,
Oh,
Brazil,
wow.
the first X-Men. Died in 2003, not too long after this movie. Such a shame. Very talented.
Yeah. Huh.
Oh god, he's going. You can't follow
He's
it.
going. Oh, the I love you is just it's also kind of weird for me knowing the ending to this movie, but I think by the time I had seen this movie, I had also seen Big Hero 6, which
Brian, I'm gonna ask you to pause
spoilers
for a second
for
because we're about to get Superman. We're
we
about to
are.
get Superman
Yes.
here. Let's give
Yeah.
some respect to Superman here. You choose to be. The way he closes his eyes.
Oh, and then we zoom in from the explosion, like yeah,
Like the
back into
heavenly
the
light coming
town. Yeah.
down. damn. Oh. So you were talking about Big Hero 6, now it rips this bullshit off, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I have no problem with Big Hero 6. I think it's like not a great movie, not even a good movie in
It's
my
cute.
opinion. It's
I think
fine,
it's cute. Yeah.
but yeah, seeing that and it does just rip the ending of this movie off in a weird way that is not as effective. And I love Baymax. I think he's a great guy, my friend, of course. But yeah, nothing does it like this movie, which kind of is like an ET moment as well. But yeah, this one is just, uh, yeah, it just rips your heart out. And they built him a statue in town. Oh, I love that he doesn't get a name as well. Like I love that he's called the Iron Giant. I don't know. Like I feel like a movie now like would have to give him like a cute little name in some
I
kind of
mean, I
way.
pitched Frank, but they didn't really respond to that for the toy meetings. And they imply right here like honey that they're
Right,
like a
like they're
couple.
together. Yeah, that this
Yeah.
brought them together. And also this implication here that like he has friends now. All that implies, as Kent Mansley would say.
Oh yeah. This little bit is animated by apparently Lauren Faust, who would later create the that My Little Pony revamp. This is one
Oh,
of her early
okay.
roles, and there's a lot of famous people like Mark Andrews who would go on to Pixar, Tay Newton, like I mentioned, a lot of like great animators.
I'm assuming these were people
That
from
get
like the that classroom, the like the
oh Cal Arts. I mean, Brad Bird was more from that, but I think there's some second generation,
oh
so like
sure.
after them guys that are in there.
What's the number that
Um,
the Pixar references?
A113.
Right, right.
Oh, little screw.
I always remember this ending as like it just lights up and then we get like cut to credits, but I forget this little bit here where we like follow the pieces to like I think it's like Iceland or something.
Yeah, it's an Iceland thing we're about to see in a second,
Yeah, it's a beautiful little like button to end the movie on.
and incredibly necessary because you don't know how relieved I was at 7. I'm like, oh, thank God,
Right, he's still out there. He's alive, right? We
he's
see
somewhere
him like
there.
fully. It's not like it isn't just implied, right? He makes it very clear that he's alive, which I mean, yeah, you need that because otherwise the movie is like scarring to every child who sees it. And just this too of like seeing like individual pieces moving and yeah, and his smile.
And there we go, everybody. The Iron
There it
Giant.
is. Directed by Brad Bird. Beginning of a incredible career.
Yeah, that as you mentioned, it's going to be continuing with Incredibles 3 right after that Ray
Yeah.
Gun movie. Well, I found out that Ray Gun movie that's being made by Skydance, fucking John Lasseter. It's going to be on Netflix apparently.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Brad getting continually shafted in between Incredibles movies. Is that his
Right.
career for the rest of time now? It's just like he'll make something, no one will give a shit about it, and then he'll go back and do Incredibles.
Yeah, it feels like it, which is really sad because like when he has deviated from that, whether it's like Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, which is incredible, or Tomorrowland, which is like, not Pixar obviously, but still Disney, is a fascinating mess of a movie. He's fascinating. Like no matter what he does incredibly fascinating work. And yeah, it is kind of sad that he has gotten like just constantly gets sucked back to Pixar, but I really loved Incredibles too, and I think if he has to work in CGI, which it seems like he kind of has to, he stylizes it really well in Incredibles 2. Like I have problems with like the new Disney Pixar animation style, but he finds a way to really make it unique and make it kind of like not as generic as those other movies look around that time. So I
So
don't
you're
know.
giving him another non-Incredibles thing to do, huh?
Yeah,
That could have been
yeah.
fun too.
Uh,
Pixar.
feels like they like he's definitely the like does it give him a one for you, one for me? Like make Incredibles 3, but what else do you want to do, Brad? Do you want to do something weird? Sure, we'll let you do it because like
They almost did that with he was going to make that movie about the 1906 earthquake. That was going to be the first live action Pixar movie.
oh right, yeah, I remember that.
That
Yeah.
almost happened, yeah. It's going to be like a disaster movie about that earthquake though. I remember him talking about how he was just like, well, it was we could never crack the story because we didn't you want to make that a Titanic thing, but a giant earthquake like that is harder to pull off
Sure.
with like a Titanic sensibility. Um,
Well, and
but yeah,
like
in any case,
uh like it sucks because like Incredibles 2 won Best Animated Film that year, you know?
it made
So
a shit ton of
and made
money.
yeah, Incredibles 3 will make a ton of money, I imagine. So it
Greenlit the
just
moment Inside Out 2 beat Incredibles 2 for
right.
the highest grossing Pixar movie.
Yeah, so it just really sucks that Pixar doesn't just kind of let him do whatever, you know? Like, yeah, we'll make Incredibles 3, but I don't know, make whatever you want to make, Brad. Like he is like I think he has not made that many movies necessarily, but he is like a legendary like animation director, I think, or just director in general, of course, but specifically in animation, I think he is like legendary at this point. And yeah, it sucks, but
The real test for me with Incredibles 3 is going to be if they make the time jump that they should have done with 2. Like I still think if you're going to
wow, I
do
haven't even
Incredibles, you have to have a time jump at this point. I can't just
yeah,
see another movie that's like, oh, 10 minutes after the last one. It's like give me some fucking room to breathe. Have these characters develop a bit off screen so
yeah,
then we can like do something more interesting. I like Incredibles too, but I think it suffers a lot from like things that hurt the story a bit for me. I think it's a good Brad Bird movie, which there aren't a lot of like just good ones.
sure,
There's several great ones. You
right.
got that good one, and you also have Tomorrowland.
Which I maintain is good with a million asterisks, but I think that movie is
Right.
fascinating. And, yeah, like he made a Mission Impossible movie that kind of set the template for the way that those movies were going to be from that point on.
And Christopher McQuarrie was like, "I'm taking that credit from you, deservedly to some degree." But
Yeah,
Brad
but
Bird, I think, gets kind of carved a bit out of that situation in
right.
retrospect.
I mean, you could say he's the guy who kind of let Tom Cruise be this, there's a lot of talk, I think, on the Ghost Protocol, like making of, where it's like, yeah, Brad's the only person crazy enough to kind of go through with this. Like Tom and Brad match each other's freak, as the kids say.
I'm sure he was the one that was shooting Tom going into the closing ceremony at the Olympics.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, yeah, we're heading to the end here, but any final thoughts on the Iron Giant, Bryan, as we start wrapping up on the credits and whatnot?
I mean, it's really great. I think it's so incredible. And as someone who like didn't really have a lot of nostalgia for this movie or any sort of pretense, like I said, I saw it like later in life, and so I really have just gone to appreciate it more and more as I watch it, and just its efficiency and just how short it is. Like I know it's like 86 minutes, but the credits probably rolled around like 81 minutes, something like that. Like it's incredibly short. You could watch it just so quickly and it looks incredible, like we talked about. I mean, the 2D animation, I, this is a conversation for another day, but I still just think that Disney should maybe move back to 2D animation in some capacity. And I think that this is a great example of like why 2D animation still really, really matters. Um, and as well, just this weird time, like you mentioned, of like when we were still making mainly 2D animated films, but incorporating CG elements in very small ways, right? We weren't making like entire sequences or entire like, just like one character is CGI. Oh, just this camera movement is CGI. And yeah, I really miss that. And I kind of, rewatching something like Treasure Planet earlier this year, I really kind of almost yearn for a time when we could kind of these two things could kind of coexist in this beautiful way. But Yeah,
I
I
feel
love
like
this movie so much.
there's a weird thing just about like modern animation. It feels like we've been so deep. Susan, by the way, that is Brad
Hmm.
Pitt's sister, that the movie's dedicated to. But yeah, the modern animation just has this thing of like, well, we've been doing CG pretty much exclusively for the last like I don't know generation, so we have to keep doing that. I think it's really shown in the way that like animated movies have been very inconsistent in terms of like how well they've done.
Hmm.
Where you've got your Inside Out 2s or Despicable Me 4s, but then you got shit like the Kraken, Teenage Kraken movie from last summer
Ruby
that like no one
Gillman.
saw.
Yeah.
Ruby Gillman. Right. That just like it shows that I think people are interested, even kids would be interested in something a bit different. And I think, that 2D
Well,
animation style coming back I think would really work out.
mhm. Well, and like I think
Go ahead.
Spider-Verse has really shown that like we like a bit of that kind of like blending of different animation styles and just kind of like things that look really interesting, right? Like Disney and Pixar have kind of really honed their technology, right? Which it's very impressive, right? Like I on a technological level, I think it's incredibly impressive what Disney and Pixar can do with these movies, but you lose a lot of the style and the cartoonishness of these movies. And, yeah, something like Spider-Verse kind of proves that people like that kind of thing a bit more. And it isn't, it isn't out of fashion necessarily.
But don't also do a fucking really bad blend like you did with Wish. That movie has
Sure. I
some of
mean,
like the worst
yeah.
looking feature animation. Just the way it looks like sub PS3 cutscenes at points. It's just so like the design is so bad.
It looks
Uh,
unfinished. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. But unlike the Iron Giant, which despite the fact that this movie was like so rushed and had like dwindling resources because the studio was collapsing around them, they made an amazing movie, an incredible movie that's been so indelible. That is some of the best voiceover performances, some of the best animation, CG or 2D of all time. I think it's what I love about not just animated movies, but the movies in general.
Hmm.
To truly like, it feels like a movie that gives you just like you mentioned, everything so quickly, communicates information with great animation, but also just great storytelling, great direction, great just work from some of these people involved. And it really, as I was mentioning earlier, the whole thing about the animation guilds right now, it's such a big fucking thing that these artists deserve to be able to like have the chance to make something like this that could be like incredibly artistically engaging, but also a crowd pleaser, and
Hmm.
have it actually, I don't know, be released,
Right.
maybe,
In
and
theaters.
not written off for fucking tax purposes. Like, do you imagine, like, David Zaslav fucking seeing this movie and being like, nah, get it out of here. No one's ever gonna see this. I wanna make some more money. I wanna pinch some pennies.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, the Coyote Acme movie, which like,
Which I'm sure would be just as
uh,
good as this movie.
I mean, looks like from what we know about it and what we've heard sounds incredible. And like, again, it is kind of, blending like live action and animation. And yeah, it's just, it's really sad that we just don't get as much of this. And, you know, yeah, I don't know. But I mean, it makes me kind of, I do like stories like this where a movie releases and it's a huge bomb, but it gets a new life as, more people see it and it gets word of mouth. And I feel like now, this movie is universally beloved and is like a classic, and many people know it as like, oh yeah, The Iron Giant, like that movie makes me cry. Like it has become that kind of movie. And, you know, yeah, I think that's just really special.
Yep. It's so great that he was in Space Jam: A New Legacy too, and the Multiversus video game where he got to
Oh,
fight people,
right.
and Brian's favorite movie, Ready Player One, where he fought Mecha Godzilla with a Gundam.
Oh, one day we will talk about Ready Player One. I am not ready at this present moment to defend that movie. Not that I need to
You haven't
defend
mounted
it,
your
but
case yet.
no, but
Your Honor, if I may, my client, Ready Player One.
yeah, but
We know
Yeah,
that's a very different time because we got done just talking about over an amazing movie, Brian.
yeah, and one
Wonderful
of the
movie.
most iconic character designs of all time, maybe. Like, yeah, I just love this. The Iron Giant as a character is so iconic, and yeah, I love this movie.
Well, thank you, Cineast patrons out there,
Mm.
for your support. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed crying with us through the Iron Giant here. And really appreciate everything you contribute. Helps keep the main feed alive and allows us to do fun stuff like this on the Patreon. And we should tease Brian that obviously this is our big August sort of, Patreon episode. In September, we kind of said this, I think, on the main feed, but we're officially confirming. We'll be covering the 2-season British show, Spaced, which was co created by Simon Pegg and Jessica Hines, and all of it was directed by Edgar Wright. So, yeah, we're talking about it's 2 seasons, each season's about 7 episodes. It's on in the States currently, Amazon Freevee, everyone's favorite streaming service. And yeah, I'm curious to revisit that show because I've seen that show before, and Brian has not, though you have seen the Edgar Wright movies, so it'll be interesting to get your perspective on this.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Spaced. I'm kind of gonna keep it that way, I think. Um, but I'm also very curious to revisit a lot of those Edgar Wright movies because I watched them once when I was in high school, and I have not revisited any of them. And I am 26 now, so I would be very curious to see how those movies have aged and just what I think of them now. And yeah, I find Edgar Wright really, really fascinating, and I'm really, really fascinated and excited to talk about him, as well as uh, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. I almost said Nick Pegg and Simon Frost. Um,
They're evil counterparts.
yeah, they're
And
Luigi and Waluigi.
and Edgar Wrong, their favorite director.
Yeah, but I'm curious to talk about all of those guys because I think they're great. And again, Edgar Wright's a fascinating filmmaker, but we will get to that.
This will be especially interesting because I think I have more of the inverse with Edgar Wright, where I was like deeply obsessed with him
Sure. I mean,
at a
yeah,
certain point. Yeah.
understandable.
So and watched those movies many times. So it'll be interesting to go back to those. But that's for next time. Until then, everybody, uh, we have to go. You stay. No following. But keep following the Patreon. Like keep giving us money. We want that. But you can't like follow us like home right now. We gotta go. We gotta fly off in our rocket boots that we've had this whole time. And now we realize we can fly. Let's get out of here, Brian.